Shalom, this is the DC camp. Brother Zion Nala and Shemai 9. We're doing
Shalom.
Doing the in transit, on the way to the camp. Just want to talk about some events that was going on during the week. Because I know brothers been watching the news. And we saw earlier in the week, you saw how Barack Obama, well, not really him, he hasn't made an official statement yet, but Hillary Clinton and everybody else, Joe Biden especially, they've been talking about this plot that Iran has supposedly made on American soil. And, they were supposed to go out and kill a Saudi Arabian ambassador on American soil.
Right.
In Washington, D.C., of all places in America. But, this is the claim that they made, and they're saying that they had Representative King come out and he basically said, well, this type of thing should be seen as an act of war. And, we've been coming out and telling you, especially the elders have been coming out and telling you, man, Iran is what's going to pull this whole World War III thing together.
It's that starting point.
That's right. So, hey, man, they must be getting antsy because they trying to stir the pot. So, we wanted to get into that today. Got any precept? All right, let me get a precept real quick. Nah, I got it.
You got it.
Yeah. Precept. This is Daniel. This is Daniel, the 8th chapter, and the 25th verse. Well, it says, and through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Now, in this particular prophecy, it's talking about Antiochus Epiphanes, but this is characteristic of the so-called white man. This is characteristic of the exact same things that he's doing today, because guess what? Through his policy, the word craft is another word for deception. And through his policies that he's going out here with, because they put all their emphasis and all their money into the CIA and all of these different black operations, and craft prospers in their hands. As a matter of fact, they got this thing called a counterinsurgency manual, and it came out when they released the counterinsurgency manual that false flag terrorism is indeed one of the accepted practices that the U.S. government uses in order to get the popular support for whatever they do, because America is not a real democracy. They do something called manufacturing consent. They manipulate your mind. They do psyops on the mass public, and they get people to, to go with whatever. Just go with whatever they say. Yeah, absolutely. So if they can trick you into thinking that you have a say, but they've really steered you in that direction, whether it's on false pretenses or not, they got you.
Like the brother said, that was in the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, but it's really in this time because like the book of Ecclesiastes, that which has been is now. Yeah, I hate paraphrasing. So 1 and 9. There's no new thing under the sun.
That's right.
The brother's about to get it.
It's Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and 15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High requireth that which is past.
Can you get the 1 and 9 walking show? That's actually what I wanted to with the water.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun.
Right, and that was the Greek Empire, Antiochus Epiphanes, and what did he do around the time with Judas Maccabees? He was totally wicked, and he lifted himself, magnified himself on high, and he sacked Jerusalem and took our temple down, and he was a pure devil.
That's right.
You know, they also told our people that we couldn't follow our laws, statutes, and commandments and our customs. That's basically what they're doing in America, because when the brothers go out there and preach the truth, everybody looks at us as if we're deviant.
That's right.
We're not with the the cultural norms of America. So it's like if we preach the truth, everybody looks at us like we're demons, so to speak.
I got a precept on that.
Yeah.
It's 1 Peter. 1 second. This is 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. And I'm going to just start from the first verse. It says, for as much then as Christ has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of God. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries, wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you.
Deviant. Period. I mean, that's self-explanatory, man. We're deviant to this world, man. You know, they think it's strange that we're not doing the same thing that they're doing, their wickedness, man.
That's
you know?
Right.
So, you know, that's why the brother brought it out. You know, it requires that which is past, and that which has been has already been. It's like all these empires are the same fucking empires over and over again, man.
That's right.
That's it. You know, America is Babylon, is spiritually Sodom and Egypt, man.
That's right.
It's bondage. It's bondage because we're in captivity, and we can't follow the law, statutes, and commandments like we want to, man.
That's right.
That's why we want to. We want them to go into Iran, man, so we can get them Ezekiel prophecies hitting, man.
I'm gonna go to that next. That's actually where to transition into, because you know, like we were saying, this is one of the most important prophecies that remains to be seen and remains to be fulfilled. You know, because we're at the precipice, we're at the tipping point. You know what I mean? This thing is ready to go at any moment in time, and you know we could literally be looking at the end of this thing within the next, couple of months, if things accelerate fast enough. So let me go ahead and get this. This is Ezekiel chapter, I'm going to start from 38 and verse 1. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And as we know, Gog and the land of Magog refers to Russia, the Russians. And it says in verse 3, and say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with the shield and the helmet.
And just to say one thing, that Persia is talking about Iran.
That's right.
You know, them Iranians, man. So let you know and Iran has, they have agreements with Russia.
That's right. And also, I just wanted to piggyback on what you said, because it says, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Now, that's talking about basically the confrontation is not even going to be something that Russia in and of itself is directly going to be trying to engage in. But guess what? When the United States decides they want to go out and fuck with Iran, that's the hooks that's in the jaws of Russia. That is the country that when America decide, and America's going to try and be a devil, they're going to try and find a sneaky way to go about it, you know what I mean? Because it might not be them directly. What they'll do is, I don't know if any of y'all remember, but a couple months ago, America gave cluster bombs, which are basically these kinds of bombs that are supposed to be for penetrating deep into bunkers, into underground bunkers and blowing them up. They gave those to Israel, which, is we're saying, if there could be a connection there, because now, with them fomenting all of this, they could use Israel and their position over there to try and carry out these attacks onto Iran. And they're trying to get international support with sanctions and all this other shit, but really the sanctions ain't shit. They know sanctions ain't shit, and sanctions ain't never gonna be shit. Sanctions ain't never hurt a country in the history of the damn world, and they have never ever been effective. It's just a necessary step so that they can escalate to the next step, which is, okay, well, now we need military support from the rest of our NATO members. Right. So, if they decide they want to go in there and use NATO and, fuck with Iran, well, guess what? That's going to pull Russia into the fray.
Mm-hmm.
In 0.6 miles.
That's gonna wake up the sleeping giant to the north.
And like you said about the sanctions, sometime back, Mahmoud, he said that he don't need nothing from America to continue. He said that.
Absolutely.
That was some time back when he said that. He said he doesn't need anything from America, basically. So, I mean, it's pointless to sanction a country that don't need you.
They don't, man. They've already repeatedly said, man, they couldn't care less about. And sanctions have never worked on anybody, like ever. Like when you go through the history of sanctions, there has never in the history of the world been a situation where sanctions have effectively brought about the change that they were looking for. And everybody knows this. It's just theatrics.
Right.
And let me go, I'm going to start from 5 again. It says, Salaki, matter of fact, I'm going to start from 4 again. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords.
That's war, man.
Yeah. Persia, Ethiopia, Persia is Iran, as the brother already brought out. Ethiopia is really referring to, it comes from the Hebrew word Cush, and it really refers to East Africa underneath of Egypt. So we're talking about Somalia, we're talking about, Kenya, all of those countries over there, Sudan. Matter of fact, South Sudan, after they broke away from the country Sudan, they broke away and tried to create this separate nation, their own separate nation, is known as the Kingdom of Cush. It says Ethiopia and Libya with them. And Libya refers to North Africa. And we already see what's going on in Libya. And it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire just like what's going on in Egypt is backfiring. Because guess what? They're not going to create a stable government over there. These same rebels that they armed and trained, and they're going to depose Gaddafi, well, great. You know what I mean? The fact of the matter is, you might have took a country that might not have been an extreme Islamist state and handed over into the hands of a group of people who are now going to take over that might be extreme and Islamist. And they're going to take the position of the rest of their brethren that's in that region. So all of them, once this goes down, all of them are going to be siding with Russia because everybody's going to choose up. This is World War III in the making.
Isn't Russia tied with China?
Absolutely.
And recently Pakistan, hooked up with China too.
That's right.
And we're shaking hands. You know what that is. When you shake hands, that's an agreement, man.
That's right.
That's beyond a contract.
That's right. And just like you said, China, I believe it was China, who basically offered Pakistan, they offered them entry into what's called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which already has Russia and China in it.
Yeah.
Which is, like, man, America's not, shit America can do.
They said if the U.S. attacks Pakistan, that's basically attacking Beijing.
Yep. Yep.
So
and we talking about nuclear countries now.
Right.
You know what I mean? We talking about one nuclear country linking up with another, linking up with another. So hey man, we're worried about Iran setting up these new